Hello everybody! So this is 4 weeks after my operation and 1 week at home since having that infection, and so this is the last day of antibiotics. Very excited. So when I went in with the infection I felt properly crap, so all the way down here really crap, and then once they put me on the intravenous antibiotics I felt better. But they were still making me feel really rough and a bit sick, and I was sick at one point. And then I got off them, so I improved, and I'm on these antibiotics that I have at home. There we are. These are the antibiotics I have at home. So I'm here at the moment because they have side effects. So although I'm much better than what I was, I'm still not like, woo! So the side effects that you can get with these are, the very common ones are diarrhea. And I've had that in abundance. I don't think I've ever had as much diarrhea in my life as what I've had on these antibiotics. So since the operation, the very first movement I had was kind of solid, and I think that is because I didn't have an enema before the operation, so that was probably whatever was left in me already. So with the exception of that one very bloody solid movement, we have had diarrhea for 4 weeks. So it was just starting to kind of get a bit more solid again, and like not properly solid but just a bit more, like quite exciting. And then of course I got this infection and we've had varying degrees of water, custard and porridge like consistency, but nothing more solid than that. Even though I've been doing things like to try and bulk it up, like eating bread, eating marshmallows that I love, hot milk, things that, you know, to desperately try and, which it has, it's thickened from water to porridge, so you know, we're getting there. But yes, so I've had lots of diarrhea and my poor bum is quite numb and red, and so the hospital gave me this sore and red, and this was great. This just kind of eased it a bit, but yes, I'm looking forward to not having as much, because there's times you're going over 20 times in a day and it's just little bits that are coming out, but it stings. And I was up one night 10 times through the night with it, and I was awake probably about 30 times, and 2 out of 3 I was like, no, I'm fine, just breathe through it, it'll go away. Which sometimes it did, and then other times I was like, oh I know I need to go. So, and car journeys are not good. So yes, I was in the car the other day and like pressing my bum to the seat like, so I have been staying at home and not moving very far from the bathroom. So I'm looking forward to getting rid of that. That would be good. So, other common side effects that will affect 1 in 10 people are thrush, feeling sick, nausea, and then it says beside it, if affected, take the antibiotics before food. I was told in the hospital to eat before taking them, even if it's just a yogurt to coat your stomach. So, vomiting and diarrhea in children. I must be a child. But yes, so I have been feeling quite queasy, not as queasy as what I was on the intravenous antibiotics. I was really struggling to eat on them, but just a little bit like, and also kind of hot and cold, so feel kind of clammy and hot, and you'll be lying in bed at night and you'll be like, God, it's hot, open the windows, off with the cover, and then the next minute you're like, ooh, it's cold, shut the windows, cover, ooh, I need to put a jumper on. So it seems to kind of come in waves. And what seems to happen is I feel really hot, and then I'm like, whew, I need to go and have diarrhea. And then afterwards I'm like, I feel cold. So not crazy like the riggers hot and cold where I was shaking and goosebumps and stuff. Nothing like that. Just a little bit hot and cold. So very mild hot and cold. So that is the antibiotics, the cream for my bum. Other pills I'm on are, everyone will know these, paracetamol. So I'm still on those. I've been trying to cut down, but because I had all this other crazy infection and everything going on, I didn't cut down as soon as what I hoped. So I'm still on the paracetamol to breakfast, lunch, dinner and night time, although I did forget them one day and felt fine. But I was told to cut down the tramadol before I cut down the paracetamol. So the tramadol ones, and these are, the boxes are quite boring, they're just white. So the tramadol are, does it say prolonged release? Prolonged release, but sometimes they're called modified release. And I don't know if you can see, but they look really cool. And they've got like a yellow part, and then they've got like lots of beans inside the white part, which is really funky. Although some of the other ones didn't look like that, they were just like green circles. Can you hear them? So that's what amuses me when I have to take them. So I was taking one of these in the morning and one of them at night, and then I was going to cut out the one at night, and my doctor said to me, no, don't do that, because nighttime will be when you'll struggle to sleep. So cut out the daytime one, and I have been fine. I've cut out the daytime one and I've been fine. So I'm going to leave it just another couple of days, and then I'm going to cut out the nighttime one. Especially since I had that awful night just 2 nights ago where I was up throughout the night with a really sore tummy and diarrhoea. So I'm just going to leave it a couple more days. Maybe 3, since there's 3 left in the packet. Might do 3 more days. and then I'll cut them out. And that'll be me just on paracetamol. And by that time I'll ask my doctor what ones I should cut out first. I don't know. She'd maybe suggest keeping the nighttime ones, so I might start cutting out from breakfast onwards. But we'll see. I totally take her advice. So the last thing I'm on is Dipro Base. And this is the cream that you can use Vaseline or olive oil or some kind of, maybe, I don't even know, maybe E45 moisturising or something. But this is the cream that the nurse gave me to put on my wounds. So, I don't know if you can see, I might have to take you down. There we go. Ooh. So, my wounds. So this is my button. And as you can see, it's just like a little line now, compared to what it looked like before. And this one down here looks really good. Just a little line. Now, it did have that kind of bloody scar running along it. And I have not picked at them. I have not picked at them, although I did want to. But the times where it was starting to peel off, there's been, I'm not sure if it's like 3 things that have been coming off. I'm not sure if it's some of the cream kind of congealing, I'm not really too sure. I've been trying to rub it in as much as possible. Obviously that's quite tricky once it goes inside of your belly button. So I'm not sure if that is some of the stuff that's been coming off. The other stuff has been the kind of scarred tissue where it is like, just like if you get a cut, the kind of blood crusty stuff. And the last stuff that's been coming off, I think, is the surgeon's glue. And you know, if you buy a magazine and it's got something stuck to it and you pull the something off, you get that really thick, gluey stuff, and it stays sticky for ages and you can kind of roll it in a ball. I don't know how to explain it other than that, because it's not like Pritt Stick or PVC or other types of glue. It's really chunky, sticky glue. So that's what it's been a bit like. So when it started to come off, if you kind of roll your finger along it, it kind of, I don't know, runs into a ball and then just kind of peels off, and it is sticky and tacky. So I think that's been coming off. But where this line was, so yes, I didn't pick at them, but I did cut it. So the line scar that's here had a bit that was still attached, but another bit that was coming off. And it was catching on my clothes, and then it was pulling. And then it was really kind of hurting, where it was kind of snagging and pulling on the bit that was still connected. So I snipped off the wobbly bit, and so then it wasn't pulling, but now it's all just come off on its own anyway. So that's good. So I'm still putting the cream on them. And I think that is all the drugs. Although I do have, which is just a boring white box, the regular tramadol, which I could take at any point if I get sore, and I have not touched those since I was in hospital with the infection, so that's well over a week, getting close to 2 weeks, so I haven't had them at all, and I haven't had pain like what I've had there. I have had what I've been calling my stitch, so I don't know if it's if I'm at a funny angle sometimes and kind of twisting, and my bowel is getting I don't know, twisted. I don't know if it's moving around still, which is why I'm getting, and it feels like a stitch if you're running and you get this kind of stitch. I've no idea what's causing it. It could just be food moving through the new connected part. It could be anything. And I haven't noticed a kind of common factor. I haven't noticed it before dinner or after dinner or first thing in the morning or last thing at night or in bed or sitting or lying. I haven't noticed anything. I've just noticed that sometimes it's there and sometimes it's sore. Just like a stitch is, where you stop and you go and hold on to your side. So it is, so the bit that they would have connected in me, so if I can tuck my top in, is down here. And there is a little bit of bruising there, which is quite funny because that wasn't, see, there's bruising over here, and this is where they went in, but they would have worked over here, but the bruises have kind of come up. They've gone down a wee bit now. But this tends to be where it is, and then sometimes it's around my back. It's kind of around here. So I don't know if anybody else has had that. And also kind of around my tummy, around this part, especially there, that bit, feels like a big giant bruise underneath. And my mum did suggest maybe it's a hemotoba, which I think is just a big bruise. So that's kind of underneath the skin and goes a bit hard. And it could be, because they've been working around there, it could just be still bruised. So that's the only, and it's not painful. Obviously I was just poking at it. I was not like poking right in. It feels bruised. That's all it feels. So unless you kind of poke at it, you're not really aware of it. And the stitch thing comes and goes. And like that, it is exactly like a stitch if you're running, and it passes. So that's the only things I've had. So everything has been quite good. And I think I've had my operation, I then had that blip, I then had the infection. So I'm hoping that is number 3 and everything is going to be plain sailing from here on. But I will give you an update probably next week, or if anything else happens in the meantime. Okay, bye-bye!